Hey everybody, going to give you an update where we are with this dummy load tester here. So as you can see, I've gotten quite a bit done here. You see I've got the analog meter in. I decided to go with the analog meter because it really took up less space. This space that I have available here really is very, very small. So if I would have put that large meter across the top, it would have been too crowded. So so I've got this meter right here, and I've got the selector switch. And you'll see that position 1 is 4 ohm, position 2 is 8 ohm, and I'll explain what's going on with 3 and 0 in a moment. You'll see I've got a port here to attach to my oscilloscope, and I've got a selector switch here. This is for the meter to show you which is 4 ohm and 8 ohm, so depending on the load you have to set it for that meter to be accurate. And then I've got the input, which will go from the back of the amp into this device. Let me flip it around and show you what we have here. So you'll see that I used a piece of ABS plastic, and I've got that mounted securely. And first thing I did here is, if you'll notice that there's no speaker. So I'm not going with the original configuration that Terry had on his unit for a few reasons. I wanted to keep this a little more simple. And I think at some point I'm going to rebuild this a little bit differently anyway. But for purposes that I need it right now, this is going to work just fine. I don't need the speaker. I don't need the speaker volume potentiometer, and I don't need the switch to turn the speaker on and off. It's a little more than what I need for now. So you'll see I've got everything wired. Right? There's the meter back there. There's the input. There's the selector switch for 4 ohm, 8 ohm. There's the oscilloscope test point. This is the actual selector switch, and it's connected here, and I'll show you. I'll flip underneath, and underneath I use those terminal strips that I showed you that I was going to use, and I've got everything neatly tie wrapped under here. There's a 10K resistor. I'll go through the schematic in a moment. Here's the 10K resistor. And essentially this thing has two different legs, which I'll describe for you in a moment as well. And I've got these two wires here, this purple and this green, which go on the cabinet to this input. So this is going to be a banana plug input. So it's really the same as this input, but I could use banana plugs on this, or I could use screw connectors. So these connect inside the cabinet. They plug right in, so I can remove it and disconnect it, and that's where we are. Now let me draw this thing out and show you exactly what I've learned about this in case any of you want to try to do this. Be right back. All right, so when you think about this thing, really what you're talking about here is it's really just mimicking a speaker, right? So the thing that was mystifying to me about this schematic here that Terry sent me was I didn't quite understand the switch configuration. It didn't make a lot of sense to me. I'm seeing 8 positions, and it didn't quite make a lot of sense, but then I had to kind of draw it out in my mind and make sure that I understood what I was building. And I'm going to explain it to you, and then hopefully that'll help you. So let's go through this. So let's start with the meter. So there's the watt meter, right? And coming out of the meter, there's 2 sides, right? Much like that. There's also a wire that comes out of the back, which is your selector switch for your 4 or 8 ohms. But let's stick with the watt meter here for a second. Now, on the bottom of the schematic, right here, we're going to put the input. So this is the input into the device. The way you have to think about this is split in half like this. So whatever's on this side is on this side of the input jack, and whatever is on this side is on this side of the input jack. It took me a while to get my head around that. So this watt meter, right, comes down like this, basically creates a box just like that, and this side does relatively the same thing. Now I'm going to put this resistor here. There's a 10K resistor, just like that, okay? And then your oscilloscope, we're going to put right here. Now, if you remember what I said about this line being separated down the middle, when you connect your scope, let's start with that. One side goes to this rail, which is on this side of the meter and this side of the input. And the other side of this scope is actually going to come around and connect on this side, right there. Again, 2 halves. All right. Now let's draw in the actual 4 ohm resistors that we have. So here's 1, and here's 2. This is your 4 ohm, and this is your 4 ohm. The way this thing works is one side of the 4 ohm resistor goes to this side. This side of the 4 ohm resistor actually loops around and comes in here to that one. And then this 4 ohm resistor goes out to the selector switch, just like that. All right, and we're going to say input 1, input 2, input 3, and input 4 on the switch. And when you throw the switch, 1 and 2 are connected, and 3 and 4 are connected depending on the position. You following me? So, really what we're saying is that when you have the switch in the number 1 position, you're coming over here, and you're essentially, let me make sure I got this right. No, actually this should be like this. Sorry about that. When you put the switch in the number 2 position, you're really coming across here and completing the circuit. So you're 4 ohms, just like this, right? So you put number 2 position, it's going to come up here, here, and you're going to get 4 ohms across. The other side of the switch goes to this rail on this side. Okay? When you go to the position 2 on this switch, let's just complete this one. So this side goes to the rail, just like that. And this position is actually coming across here to this 4 ohm resistor. So when you're engaging things in the 2 position, you're essentially going across both of these 4 ohms, right? So you're here, you're coming in here, you're going out here, you're coming in here and going across. So that's how this works. So that's the entire configuration right there in a nutshell. Okay? Now, I didn't put the speaker in, obviously, like I said, because I'm not going to really use that yet. I'm probably going to build another one of these things and do a little bit more. I have a few ideas on what I can do to improve it. But I wanted to get this one built and at least have something I can use to fix my amps with. So because I goofed this up, I'm just going to explain it one more time, just in case any of you are trying to follow. All right. So again, 2 4 ohm resistors. These 2 are connected together. That's how it works. When I'm using the first position on the switch, which is 4 ohms, I'm actually coming up right here to where these 2 are connected. If it comes, when it tries to go through this resistor, there's nothing there because there's no connection to it, right? It's going to come up right here and come around. When I flip the position switch to position 2, what it's doing is it's creating a connection to this side of the 4 ohm resistor. So it's coming across like this, going through the 4 ohm, through the 4 ohm, and around. That creates 8 ohms. Okay? Now let's test that theory out. Let's put a meter on this thing and see what it looks like. Be right back. Okay, so I have my meter connected across the input right here. Okay? And I have it underneath with some clips. So let's put this meter on ohms, like that. And let's move this to position 1. Position 1 is 4 ohms, 4.3 ohms. Let's move it to position 2. 8.3 ohms. Perfect. Now if I move it to position 3, I'm going to get some crazy number because there's nothing connected to it. So I'm getting 580 ohms or something like that. And the same thing is true when I go to position 0 because it's currently not connected to anything. So again, position 1, 4 ohms. Position 2, 8 ohms. And you'll see that I've got that clearly marked right here on this label. 1 is 4, 2 is 8. So that kind of shows you that this thing is working. So the next step for me is going to be to mount it in the case and then actually connect an amp to it and see what happens. I want to make sure that this meter is working because I haven't tested that yet. So So that's going to be in the next video, but I just wanted to show you where we are with this and hope this explains a little bit to you what I'm working on. A little more work to do on this one, and I'll be back in the next episode. This is Ron. Thanks. Okay, I lied. One more. She's back in the case, and this is what it looks like. There's the input. There's the other input. There's the meter, selector switch, oscilloscope, and 4 and 8 ohm. So next step is going to be for me to test it out. So we'll do that in the next video, and you'll see this thing is all buttoned up nice, and we'll see how it works. All right, this is Ron. Take care.